She was crowned the belle of her hometown, a pageant queen with perfect posture, radiant skin, and a gaze that could melt hearts. But when the Japanese army came, they didn't just take her homeland, they took her father. Hung in the plaza as a warning to others, his death changed everything. She didn't weep, she didn't hide, she picked up her rifle, applied her lipstick, and vanished into the mountains. There, in the humid jungles of Pampanga, she didn't just fight. She led, she ambushed, she commanded. Her name was Remedios Gomez-Paraiso, but to history, she would be known as Commander Liwayway, the woman who went to war with style, defiance, and fire. Remedios Gomez was born on July 12, 1918, in the town of Mexico, Pampanga. She was the daughter of Placido Gomez, a respected local official and former mayor. Even in her early years, she stood out, not just for her beauty, but for her confidence, her sharpness, and her independence. Unlike many women of her time, Remedios trained in marksmanship alongside her father. Her days were filled with horseback riding, physical fitness, and debates at the dinner table. Despite this unorthodox upbringing, she was also admired for her elegance. In her late teens and early 20s, she competed in and won local beauty contests, including the title of Miss Pampanga. Her charm, poise, and intellect earned her the admiration of both men and women. But beneath the fanfare and floral crowns was a woman who despised injustice, feared nothing, and stood quietly on the edge of history, waiting. What made Remedios special was not the tension between beauty and bravery, it was how she embodied both, fully. She was the kind of woman who didn't ask for permission to lead. When the Japanese Imperial Army invaded the Philippines in 1941, life in Pampanga changed overnight. The occupiers ruled with brutality, looting homes, assaulting civilians, executing officials who refused to cooperate. Remedios's father, Placido, was one of them. He refused to bow to the invaders. For that, he was dragged into the town square and publicly executed, his body left hanging for all to see. The townspeople wept, but Remedios did not. She stood silently in the crowd, fists clenched, as her father's lifeless body swayed in the wind. That night, she left her home, and never returned. Her beauty queen sashes were left behind. So were her gowns. All she took was her lipstick, a change of clothes, and a rifle. She made her way to the Hukbalahap, the Hukbong Bayan Laban Sa Hapon, a newly formed guerrilla resistance force in central Luzon. She was no longer a daughter, nor a civilian. She was now a soldier. Her comrades gave her a name, Liwayway. It means dawn, a fitting title for someone who had turned her personal loss into the birth of a new fire. In the eyes of her fellow fighters, she was not just a woman, she was a leader. Liwayway quickly rose through the Huk ranks. She began as a courier, then a nurse, then a fighter. But it was her strategic mind, calm under pressure, and ability to inspire men in the darkest moments that earned her the title of commander. She was given command of Squadron 3V, a mixed group of male guerrillas operating in the rugged terrain of Pampanga. They launched ambushes on Japanese convoys, raided garrisons, and protected rural communities from collaborationist forces. And always, without fail, she wore red lipstick into battle. When questioned, she replied, "I want the enemy to know, even in death, that a woman fought them." Her most legendary moment came at the Battle of Camansi, where she and her unit were nearly overrun by Japanese soldiers. Ordered to retreat, Liwayway refused. She rallied her men, reorganized defensive lines, and turned the tide of battle in dense jungle terrain. The Japanese were forced to withdraw. Her dual identity, a woman who applied makeup while leading men into gunfire, confounded expectations. She shattered every box placed around her. To some, she was a myth. To her men, she was the real thing. The war ended in 1945. The Japanese surrendered, but for Commander Liwayway, a new struggle had begun. The Hukbalahap, once praised for their resistance, were now labeled a communist threat by the newly restored Philippine government. Soldiers were arrested, some disappeared, others, like Liwayway, were imprisoned. She was jailed twice on accusations of rebellion. No evidence ever held. She was released, but never truly free. She married fellow resistance fighter Basilio Paraiso, and together they raised a son. Despite harassment and surveillance, she fought for Huk veterans to receive recognition, pensions, and dignity. But she never returned to a normal civilian life. She was marked. The country she helped liberate now treated her like a ghost. Still, she remained proud, not bitter. "We did what had to be done," she said in one of her final interviews. "And I did it as myself." In 2014, at the age of 95, Remedios passed away quietly. But her name, Liwayway, still echoes in the hills she once defended. Remedios Gomez-Paraiso was not a contradiction. She was a complete human being. A woman who embodied both beauty and bravery, not one in spite of the other. She shattered the mold of what a soldier looked like. She led men without apology. She fought in heels when necessary. She painted her lips not out of vanity, but out of defiance. She remains a symbol not just of Filipino resistance, but of the right of every woman to define herself on her own terms. Commander Liwayway didn't just fight the Japanese. She fought a society that said she couldn't be both soft and strong. She remains, to this day, one of the most striking and forgotten icons of World War II. She didn't die a legend. She lived one.